Welcome back to Gainesville, everybody. I'm JG Pasterjack. This is the 2017 Challenge from Grassroots Motorsports Magazine, presented by CRC Industries, Miller Welders, and General Tire. Before I get too far into this, remember to like and share, obviously, but remember this Subaru van right here that we have been watching, getting ready for its runs all day. Still having some teething problems with that. That's built on the chassis of a dwarf car. Is it a dwarf car or a Legends car, Jason? You know? Jason Kamiza doesn't know. I think it's a dwarf car because the driver is set quite a bit back. We'll take a closer look when they come back in. They have no clutch, so they have to actually start the car in gear at the line and hope for the best when they're out there. So we're just going to sit back and enjoy the magic. So let's get a little closer look at this this thing as they roll back into the staging area here.
Kicking an inside tire off the ground, I think.
The body's dragging the ground.
Really?
Yeah, the back corners are dragging. When you corner hard, the opposite corner drags on the body.
Huh. Okay. All right.
So that's probably helping fix the tire. I think.
Just drag through.
So, Alan, a couple runs in this thing. This is a dwarf car with a Subaru van plopped over top of it. Does it looks like very much a what you see is what you get, or what you get is what you see proposition here. What do you think after your first couple runs?
You know, evil comes to mind. It's a hairy handful. When you're on and off throttle for any reason, the rear end really wants to rotate a lot. I mean, it really wants to come around. So you're kind of modulating that, trying to find the sweet spot on the gas pedal, and you know, get the power band right. It's a driver's job.
Can you find a point where it kind of feels like you're on top of it? Like what does it do well that you're trying to maximize at this point?
Low speed corner turn in is awesome. You know, it really wraps the corners very well, and the steering's really nice and light. I'm having a little trouble transitioning to power.
Take a little bit closer look at this thing. So yeah, this is a Subaru van wrapped around a dwarf car. Let's clipping out the audio. Go talk to one of our pro drivers here. We've talked to Stephen Duckworth a couple times already. Steve, I see you're getting ready to go out and buy some groceries here. It looks like. What you got a stripped out Corolla you're sitting on top of with a nice sticky set of tires on it. This thing actually looks fairly composed out there.
It's a nice Corolla, automatic transmission, plenty of room for groceries, even in this area. I hear it's only driven on Sundays by a little old lady, and I believe it might be for sale if anybody is interested in this fine piece of Japanese machinery.
Oh, this is you guys. All right, so this is Adrian Vallea, who built a nationally competitive autocross FSP Echo,
Tercel.
or Tercel, That's right. And for under $2,000, came to the challenge, ran our challenge a couple years ago, and then ran a season, or a couple seasons now, national level autocross. So you guys back with a Corolla now. So you're climbing the Toyota ladder.
It's all by luck. I mean, I'm not a Toyota guy. It just they fall in my lap. So, but it's great. The plan for this year was to remove everything from the car. I have under $200 in the budget. There's actually no suspension. I removed the springs. It's sitting on bump stops. So it's stiff.
Yeah. And everybody always asks the question, well, how did these guys get these cars so cheap? Your Tercel, originally you traded a bicycle for your first Tercel.
Was for the Echo. The first year I did it, I traded a bicycle for the car. It had a bad clutch. I replaced the clutch, and I put Spec Miata Hoosiers on it. And I came to the challenge. I fell in love, and now I'm doing this every year.
Well, we're sorry we got you hooked, but we're glad you came back. Let's go talk to Carl here. So our friend Carl LaFollette. Carl, I see that you put quite a bit of your budget into safety here with your roll bar from Charlotte Pipe PVC Works. But tell us a little bit about your Jeep here. The thing actually looks fairly comfortable on course out there.
CPVC is the new roll bar of safety. It's NASA approved. Basically, this is a Jeep 1999 Comanche Comanchero for our Spanish listeners out there. We got a stock vehicle, but basically we're going to make a safari out of it. So after we leave here, we're going to Daytona Beach, and Tim's invited us over for dinner. We're going to go, and tomorrow we're going to be, Sunday night we'll be on the beach, maybe doing a little paddle boarding or something like that. I think he's got a clam bake or something going over there.
You throw a grill in the back, you take your stuff out to the beach, and you have a good time. Enjoy it, brother. Thanks for coming.
Love you guys. Love you guys at Classic Motorsports, Grassroots Motorsports. Great event. Everybody needs to come down. It's beautiful weather here. You're missing it. Hopefully you're suffering up north doing something like that, but down here you got to deal with it. You got to deal with this beautiful weather.
All right, Carl hopes you're suffering. So hopefully you're only suffering a little bit. It is beautiful in Gainesville, though. Let's go take a look. We haven't looked closely at this Spitfire yet today. Let's see who's behind the wheel. Oh, John Thomas, behind the wheel of a classic British automobile. Have you driven this thing yet?
I have, and lots of turbo boosts. Yeah, it's a lot to tame here.
Yeah, it looks a little bit hairy out there. What's your approach? I mean, obviously there's a lot of different cars, different layouts and configurations here. What's your approach in getting into one of these things for the first time and trying to get the most performance out of it as a driver?
You just try to learn what it does and try to drive around its characteristics. If it pushes a little bit mid-turn, if it's got power oversteer, you just as quickly as can adapt to the car and what it wants to do.
Do you think you're more impressed or more terrified by some of the creations here by the time you get to the second or third corner out there?
Everything out here is a blast, and again, the creativity and the ingenuity and the enthusiasm that goes into these cars from these competitors is just awesome.
All right, enjoy this British Steel, man. Good job. So who wants to give me the elevator speech on this thing?
I will as we're walking.
Okay.
We bought this from Josh Miller after last year's challenge. It actually came as a challenge after the awards because I said I was going to beat Andrew. It didn't quite work out, but we started this thing 6 weeks ago. It's we got a dwarf car chassis. We had to rebuild everything. We're not completely sorted yet, but hey, there's always next year. We didn't get the turbo on it, but next year it'll come back turboed. I've got a little IHI that Les Burchett gave us for free, so it's a hoot. But we got it started last night at 6:30. It moved under its own power for the first time about 45 minutes ago.
Oh wow! So it literally is just the Subaru van body. Yeah. Drop down on kind of a custom frame over
dwarf car chassis. We cut 3 inches out of the bottom of the body and all the floor pan, and and then we welded it to the chassis. know if we were going to need wheelie bars for next year or not, so we decided to leave a mounting point.
Well, I hope you need them. We are pulling for you. Jack, can you throw it up at the table for me? They are putting quite a bit of boost to that Spitfire, and John Thomas actually seems very composed behind the wheel of that thing. It's got to be an absolute handful. Our friends in the Subaru van have to wait for a completely clear track because they are push starting the car in gear. So I think at various times during that run, each of the four wheels were off the ground at some point during that run. Let's go talk to Alan and see what he's thinking after a couple runs behind the wheel of that dwarf car.
I've got the most rebound in that shock.
Rebound?
Compression.
Okay.
I've got the most compression. That one's a 7, 8. Yeah.
Is there any rebound? Can you soften rebound?
I can't adjust them.
Okay.
So I think at one. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, guys.
That one's got the most compression, the least rebound. This one's got the most rebound, the least compression.
Okay. What about over here on the left?
So, Alan, I think at various times during that run, all four tires were off the ground at some point during that run. Is that kind of how it feels from behind the wheel?
Yes, it really did feel that way. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, I'm hoping at least 3 are on the ground at any one time, but I'm not sure.
I don't think you ever got more than one up at a time, but yeah, it was definitely hiking him there. Well, looks like you're kind of getting a handle on this thing. Are you past the point where it's terrifying and to the point where it's fun now?
Yeah, there's significantly less terror involved, and I'm starting to feel a little confidence. I'm wanting to go a gear higher now, just to try and be smoother.
We're gonna keep watching, brother.
You said I had at least 3 wheels on the ground. Yeah.
Let's go talk to Gracie quick. So Gracie Hackenberg led the team from Smith College out here in this Miata. How's it feel behind the wheel of your own car now? You've seen some of the pros do it. Pretty excited after all this work to be driving it yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Really excited.
So this is something I think Are you going to pursue a motorsports career after you graduate? You're in the engineering program at Smith. It's a very young program, but do you foresee going into the motorsports field?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get a job in motorsports as an engineer and then racing as a hobby.
Have you had a chance to connect with our other two college teams here? Are you starting to learn something from them a little bit, trading some of the secrets about challenge success?
Yeah, we have.
Awesome. Good luck. Can't wait to see you run. Yeah. Live with David Wallens, Tom Sutter from Grassroots Motorsports magazine. You guys didn't know you were going to be on the show, did you? You both you've been to every challenge, just like me. You've been to every challenge too, even though you didn't remember the first couple because you were like 4. But how do you see the state of the art changing over the years?
Mainly just creativity. You see stuff you never would have thought of. It's cool seeing people be creative. This year, the biggest change, I think, is a lot more younger people. We have 2 high school teams and 3 college teams, which that is awesome. Georgia Tech's been coming forever, so it's nice to see them back. But, I mean, we would have killed to have these opportunities in school. I mean, I didn't even have a car freshman year of college. Never mind get to build a challenge car. So I'd say that's some of the biggest stuff I'm seeing is just, I mean, we have 2 high school teams. That's really cool. And I talked to their parents, and their parents like, yeah, they're excited. You know, they're learning math. This is a good way to show them, hey, math isn't for nerds. Like, math is cool, and this could lead to a career. The Georgia Tech guys, talking to them, this has led to career opportunities for previous teammates, previous year teammates. So that is really cool. And then again, the normal like this. I mean, just the same. Which we had the Bat Van, as you remember, a million years ago. It's cool to see stuff that's outside the box. I worked a tiny bit on a car this year, and for me, the big part, it was fun just working a car with your friends, which a lot of us don't get to do as much because we work in a car magazine, so we don't work on cars as much. And that was kind of the fun, was just working on a car, solving problems, having lunch together, and just kind of back to basics. It was like we were here to have fun, work on a car, and the car's here, and it's running, and knock on wood, it's doing pretty okay.
Although, to be fair, a good portion of the Georgia Tech team graduated like 5 years ago, and they're still just kind of.
Well, at least, I want to. Yeah.
Some of them are definitely enrolled. Yeah.
Right.
One other interesting thing is, it used to be to win the challenge, you had to build an amazing car like that van or like the AMC Spirit, and now you have to build that and then test and tune it for 2 years straight. They're finally starting to sort cars, which is
yeah. And again, like a lot of people having fun, and that's kind of the big thing at the end of the day. This has become a homecoming. Like you said, we've been to all of them. We have Johnny Pruitt, Bill Catita, Barry. I mean, we have some people we've been seeing almost 20 years now. And it's cool that this is kind of a homecoming, that people are coming and they're not locals. Also, the other cool thing, we have the whole community. We have people who are helping each other out. They don't live near each other, but they know each other through the message board. And then when they get here, it's like they finally meet each other because they're best buddies, but really they just know each other as a message board name. And so when they get here, they get to hang, which, again, I'm kind of glad today's been really, the staff, I'm sure you've mentioned, our staff has done an amazing job, like keeping stuff from not being stressful and keeping everything running great. And it's nice, like you don't see people running around on fire or no one's complained to me yet.
Get another van run here while they're still running. We should take advantage of photographing it. So they are knocking chunks of time off with that thing every single time. In the top 10, I believe now in the autocross. In a car with no clutch, which is impressive. But Alan's definitely getting the hang of how to drive that thing. Folks, once again, we are live from the Grassroots Motorsports 2017 Challenge, presented by CRC Industries, Miller Welders, and General Tire. This is going to be our final segment for the autocross portion of the competition. We're actually going to have a segment for the General Tire Challenge coming up immediately after the autocross, which will pit the 20 of the teams from the challenge. We'll pit a designated driver from each of those 20 teams against each other in a spec Mazda, both a Mazda 3 and a Mazda Miata or a MX-5 RF. So we have full coverage of that coming up about half an hour after our final autocross segment ends here shortly. Coming up starting right around 6 p.m. is going to be the drag race portion of the competition. Hope to see all of you there who've been joining us today. These cars will move over out of the lot here into the drag race area here at Gainesville International Raceway, and they'll be running down the quarter mile all night long. We'll be bringing you several segments of the drag race competition as well. You're going to see more than one car here flirting with and possibly flirting with being deep into the 10-second range on that quarter mile drag strip tonight. Starting right around 6 p.m. we will post up before we go live. Make sure you guys have plenty of advance warning. Thanks again for all the likes and all the shares. Got a few more minutes of coverage here, and we'll try and show you all these awesome cars circulating the autocross course here at the 2017 Challenge. It's our Mazda MX-5 from Smith College out there on course right now. Smith's taking their first shot at the challenge this year, doing battle with other college teams from Georgia Tech and high school teams from around the country as well, participating in this year's challenge. So Samuel wants to know what car David and I would choose to face off in. David walked away. We'll see what he thinks when we catch up with him again. But if you guys have been following along today and seen some of these builds, you see that there's a couple of different philosophies at play here in the 2017 challenge. You have cars that are extremely over-engineered, some of them successfully, some of them less so, but you have cars that have had a ton of effort put into them. Then you have milder builds that focus their budget on just improving a few small details. For example, the team Dead Skunk Mazda Miata, it's a nice, clean NB Mazda Miata with a Jackson supercharger and a big sticky set of Hoosiers on it and a couple of simple suspension mods. They're taking what the factory originally did. They're taking a good starting base car, improving a few key things, not trying to re-engineer the whole thing, and making a really, really nice, drivable package. So, yeah, and then you can compare that to stuff like the Mystery Machine van that is a completely ground-up engineered solution that has some teething problems. So, do you want to pick a simple, well-engineered car or a complex car that needs a lot of sorting and is very fragile? If it's me, I'm probably looking at something like that Miata, and I'm going to focus on getting the most out of a simple build. But that doesn't mean that I am not very, very attracted to some of the more complex builds and some of the more complex engineering that folks put into these things. All right, we are taking a break here to switch our workers over, so we're going to go ahead and rumble back to the booth here and sign off for another half hour. We'll be bringing you, the next time you see us, we're going to be bringing you coverage of the General Tire Shootout, which is going to feature our top drivers from the autocross competition today facing off in a Mazda Miata and a Mazda 3 supplied by Mazda. So we will see that in the next 45 minutes or so. We'll be back on. Then tonight, starting right around 6 o'clock, we'll post in advance drag race from the 2017 challenge. Hope you all can join us then and tune in all night for the drag race action here at the challenge. Folks, I'm JG Pasterjack. This is the Grassroots Motorsports 2017 Challenge presented by CRC Industries, Miller Welders, and General Tire. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for all the likes and shares. We're going to see you again in less than 45 minutes for the General Tire Shootout, then see you again this evening for drag racing. Thanks for joining us.